Alrighty, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you guys remember, a couple weeks back, I had put on my story as a questionnaire, what is the best advice you've ever gotten pertaining to your early or just mid-20s in general? Why did my music stop? That's weird. Anyways, so I'm gonna read off some of them and then kind of just give you guys my initial thoughts. Of course, I wanted Tyler to be a part of this, but he's so busy with work, so that's just not happening. Why is my music not playing? Why is this so loud? Okay. The first one. What the fudge? Hello?
I'm using Spotify.
Oh, I'm filming right now and using it as background music. You can't just like listen to the radio. Please.
Bye.
Bye, love you. That's what it was. My music wasn't working because our Spotify is connected. Well, it's Tyler's account and he's going to work right now and he was using it in his car and I was like, you cannot because I'm using it. Anyways, okay, so let's see. The first one is take risks. Your 20s are a great time to focus on yourself and what will make you happy. Absolutely agree. The only thing is, I feel like that's also a thing to do in your 30s as well. A lot of people will say like the 30s is the new 20s. Some aspects I agree, but I feel like 20s is definitely your time to experiment with different things. Just take chances, move around. You know, you're still young, you're not, even though you're adult, I feel like your early 20s, you can still kind of dabble around certain things or like whatever you want without getting into too much serious trouble or life trouble that, you know, will haunt you for the rest of your life. Take that with a grain of salt. But I feel like taking risks at every age of your life is also important because it makes things exciting. I feel like you constantly are growing throughout your life and you should never stop growing, and taking risks definitely helps stretch all of that and stretch your uncomfortability. Okay, don't change for others, always be yourself. You'll attract authentic people and opportunities. 1000%. Should I say the names of these? I feel like I should. Okay, so the first one was from Tiffany. The second one is Ashley. So I, for sure, especially being a blogger, I feel like, you know, there's girls you get inspo from, right? Or there's like the top girls in the industry. And of course, girls, you know, want to be like them, so they do stuff and they kind of mimic, but I would never go as far as to changing yourself to be like them, because at the end of the day, you know, as an influencer or blogger, you have to provide what you can provide. And if you're trying to provide what someone else provides, you get so lost. And I feel like you just get into this weird rhythm. You kind of don't know like what your calling is or where your content should go. And it just becomes this very jumbled mess versus, you know, you being authentic from the very beginning and unapologetically yourself. Then as you go, you can progress however you want, and you never have to pretend or put on this front or whatever, and it just makes your job so much easier. And when it comes to attracting authentic people and opportunities, I also totally believe in that. I am a firm believer in you are what you attract. And so I feel like I have such a core group of amazing girls, and like they also have good hearts. You know, at the end of the day, you know, if someone is successful or if they're not successful, my main concern with the people I surround myself with are, you know, if they have a good heart or not. And honestly, people who have good hearts do end up succeeding in life because people want to be around them. People want to work with them. You know, you have integrity, you have a really good, just, you know, aura and a reputation, and a good heart will take you so much further than just, you know, faking till you make it or whatever. Okay, this is from Kelby Slice. It says, sounds really cheesy, but health is wealth. I also agree, because if you're not healthy, you can't do anything, and you need to be healthy in order to work and make money, if that makes sense. So I definitely believe in self-care and health and all of that, all the above. So this one was from Ashley is her name. So if they don't add to your life, or if they make you feel negative, cut them out. Also agree. But if you're not good at cutting people out, just keep them from a distance. You know, love them from afar, but don't let them penetrate your circle and who you are and your little bubble of, you know, where you're trying to get to. Because at the end of the day, people who are really negative or aren't supportive, it's not a representation of yourself, it's a representation of them. And a lot of times they're just jealous because they want to do what you do, or they wish they had the courage that you had to do what you're doing, and they're closed-minded, or they, you know, they will never have the balls to do what you do, and so they will try and drag you down. So yes, keep them far away. Be careful who you date. You never know who you'll fall in love with. Date only to marry, by Laura. I agree. I feel like there's two types of dating. If you're just dating, how do I say this? Okay, so I only had 3 boyfriends and Tyler is the 3rd. And I'm the type of person who, if I'm gonna date you, it's gonna be like, I'm all in, like no matter what. And we are gonna be together for a long time and we're gonna work it out. We're not just gonna cut corners, like we're gonna do this right kind of thing. So all of my relationships were 3.5-ish years or so. But in between those relationships, I did just date around to like hang out with guys or just to go on dates. And I feel like it was kind of mutual in a sense that like you just want to chill, you want to kick it, you know what I mean? 1, to maybe take your mind off of your ex, or 2, you know, if you ever are feeling lonely and you just like want to go on a date, like who cares, just go on a date. Not saying that you have to put your self-esteem and your worth in a man, but like, hey girl, if you want to go out and get, you know, wine and dine, I feel you, because you know we love food. Date only to marry. I think that varies for everyone, just because some people don't believe in marriage, or other people, that's more just situational, but I understand where she's coming from and I agree. My needs are important too. Self-care is real and I do my best to love every bit of myself. Again, yes, that kind of goes in line with health is wealth. Self-care is so real. I took a self-care week, not week, but like 3.5 days off of, you know, just any like really blogging work. I did emails here and there, but I didn't shoot. I made sure majority of my day was not consumed with work, and it was amazing. Like it was amazing. I was smiling so much more. I like got so many things that I wanted to get done that were just, you know, busy work or things that in my life I had to get done. And you know, people always say like, oh, bloggers are annoying and you guys don't do anything, you guys just take pictures all day. Like it really is not that at all. And even my friends now will tell me like, yeah, when I hear people talking crap about you guys, like I back you up like crazy, because I only see a portion of what you do and it already makes me tired, and you do so much more than that day in, day out. So just having those few days of, you know, shutting off was so good for my mental wellness and everything, and my skin. Like I was just so stressed out and very unhappy. So that was the best thing I could have done for myself. Okay, drink more water, less toxic people around, empower others. All right, Christilos. Drink more water, yes, always. I'm not the best with drinking water, but I need to be better. Nelly, no, come here, you're dirty. You can't come onto that couch. Come on, mama. You gotta stay over here, okay? Okay, good girl. Okay, less toxic people around. Yes, we kind of addressed that already. And empower others. 1000%. When it comes to empowering others, I feel like you need to have a good sense of yourself, and you have to have adequate self-confidence and self-esteem. You know, after months of struggling with self-esteem, you know, from past relationships and whatnot, it really took me a long, I couldn't even take a compliment. When people would compliment me, I legitimately would just in my head think like, oh, you're just saying that to say, or to be nice or save face or whatever, you know, like, oh, whatever. I would brush them all off. I would never say thank you. I'd be like, oh no, like, you know, you're just, oh, you know, or change the subject or dumb myself down. And now I feel like because I've been able to build myself up and gain that self-confidence for myself, I throw compliments out like no other. And I feel like you have to be a confident girl and happy in yourself to be able to empower others. And that goes again with, you know, cutting out negative people. And a lot of it just has to do with how they view and love themselves. So I feel like empowering others is so important in society, in any and every industry, but a lot has to do with the person first, you know. And it just sucks that we can't just be like, yes, like we're gonna empower each other, because there's some people who don't want to see you win, or there's some people who only they can win and no one else can. So yes, definitely go outside your comfort zone, 1000%. You will never grow, and we talked about this already too, you'll never grow as a person if you're not being stretched. And I talked about this, it's called the law of the rubber band. And so for a rubber band to launch, you literally have to stretch it and pull it for it to go far. But if you don't stretch it or don't, you know, pull it far, where does it go? It barely goes anywhere. So yep, law of the rubber band. You have to be very uncomfortable to learn and to progress in life. Haley McKenzie, my girl, my Southern Belle. Don't date someone trying to get on The Bachelor. Next. Save your money. Yes, oh my gosh. I can't even tell you how many times I will look back on my month's expenses and be like, that was the dumb purchase, that was a dumb purchase, that was a dumb purchase. This one is still hard for me, but I feel like with frivolous things, or one huge thing that I learned that saved me so much money was I just stopped going out as much, because you're not spending money on Ubers, you're not spending money on drinks, you're not buying your friends drinks, you're not spending money on the food after, and then you're not spending you're not spending money on an Uber ride home. That alone, when you're doing that like 2 to 3 times a week, or even like 2 to 3 times a month, you are literally pissing out so much money. So yes, I think on little things like that, definitely, because you don't get much return on your investment if, you know, you want to put it in those terms. Yeah, that's so hard for me. Like Target, oh God. But Target's Target. You can't not buy random stuff at Target, you know? It's okay to say no to things if it doesn't make you happy. Okay, learning to say no. I'm sorry, that was gross. Learning to say no took me a while, just because I wanted to be a people pleaser. I wanted to make everyone happy. I didn't want people to be like, oh, like, you know. But now if I want to say no, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm 1000% okay. Like, people have FOMO, I have JOMO, joy of missing out. Like, I would much rather miss out and be at home than, you know, be out there unwillingly. 100% say no to things that don't make you happy, because at the end of the day, that will end up making you happy by not doing those things. If you're constantly doing things that don't make you happy but that please others, or that you think might look good externally, you're just digging yourself a deeper hole at that point. Don't worry about situations that haven't happened. It's like living through the experience 2 times. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Sorry, I'm forgetting to read these names off. Okay, Miss Chowbella. This was me, and this is probably so many different girls. I used to be like this, where I'm such a type A person, so I'm like, plan. I'm gonna plan something that's like 6 months out in advance, and I'm gonna get everything down to the T, down to the hour. This is what's gonna happen, let's book this. I need to know if you're coming, why aren't you telling me? Why can't you make a decision? You know, like crazy. And it's just like, why? I get so stressed out, and then when the time comes for the trip or the event or whatever, and it doesn't go the way that I had intended it to, then I get extra stressed out, and it's just like double bad. And so now I've just gotten a lot better at just going with the flow. It'll figure itself out, everything will be fine. It's really not that serious. A lot of it came from, and this is like kind of part of my testimony with my like coming to age of faith. I'll save it for another day. It also is written in my blog, but it happened when Tyler didn't get the first initial job when we were supposed to move to San Diego. Long story boring. It kind of just, God was like, hi, this is me intervening on your plans. You know, we were already looking for a place to live. Like, we were so stoked. We were like telling all our friends, and everyone was also in conjunction, like, heck yeah, this is gonna happen for you guys. Like, we're stoked. And it didn't. And it literally came to a screeching halt. And that's when I realized, like, okay, not my plan, but God's plan. Okay, forgiveness. Oh, this one is so hard. I still am struggling with it, but I've gotten a lot better. Holding grudges, forgiveness, all those things. I mean, we're human and it takes a lot of willpower to forgive. But I think for me, at the end of the day, if I kind of get in a mood with someone and I'm just like eye roll, I always think like, okay, what would Jesus do? Jesus would be really nice and show them love no matter what, and it doesn't matter. And you know what, at the end of the day, is it really that big of a deal? Like, not really, you know what I mean? And it teaches you a lot about yourself, about character, about patience. So forgiveness, it's hard, especially when people really do you wrong. But if you forgive them, even if they don't change, you forgiving them is a benefit for yourself. Like, it has everything to do with, or it has more to do with you than it has to do with the other person. So, for sure. Okay. Work your ass off to make things happen. Michelle, 1000%. I totally agree. My motto is work until you die. I'm just kidding. It is not. But I am totally busting my butt right now, at least, because, you know, growing up as an only child, my parents weren't around a lot. They were crazy workaholics. And so it was pretty much just like me and my grandparents, but like how much can you like vibe with your grandparents who barely speak English? I promised myself that I would just grind so hard right now and save so that, you know, by the time I do have kids or whatever, I could really dedicate time to being there for them and to go to all the sporting events or like the dance recitals or whatever it may be, and just really have that relationship with them as they grow up. You know, I want to be the mom that they can talk to, their bestie. You know, me and my mom barely became really close 6 months after me and Tyler got married. It was always just a very, you know, typical Asian like family dynamic. Just small talk, don't really know much, don't really ask, don't really understand, etc. So yep. Of course it is different for everyone else. Everyone has different end goals, but for me, that's what it is. Travel and experience other cultures. Literally, yes. Okay. It's not that this is my issue, but I feel like there is a lot of, I don't want to say ignorance because it's kind of a strong word, but when you go to a different country, you shouldn't go there expecting them to respect the culture that you were brought up in, if that makes sense. And I say that vice versa. I say that for people coming to the US, and I also say that for people who leave from the US to go to another country. So Asia in general, right? Stigma of Asians. 1, Asian drivers suck. And 2, like, they don't really have a sense of space. So I learned this when I went to Hong Kong. People in Hong Kong, especially, and China too, they are crazy drivers, but there's never an accident because they are so good at like getting around, maneuvering, just like fitting into tight spaces, because it's an island. You know, Hong Kong is an island. It's tiny. Roads are compact, people are always in a rush, just like it is in New York. So when they come here, they drive the same, which I think is not right, because like you should adapt to American culture if you're gonna be living here, you know what I mean? Or not adapt, but just respect it, like get acquainted, understand, don't just come here and do the same thing you always did your entire life. But also vice versa, like going there. And another thing with space, you know, there's no space there. So everyone is always so close to you in line. And I that always freaked me out when I would grocery shop here. And I'm like, hi, can you not be like pressed up against my back? But then I understood it once I went there. And so now when it does happen here, if it's like an old Asian man, I don't get bothered, or I'm not like, chill, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, I get it. I get why he's doing it. And you know, even if he, you know, should understand personal space in the US, it's like, I don't have to be like an asshole about it anymore. So, you know, I feel like when you're in a different culture and you know and understand the way that they live their life, you have a much larger tolerance and respect for them, and you don't see them so much more as foreigners, but you kind of just understand like, oh, this is the way you live, and like, cool, you know, like I understand why certain things are the way they are moving forward. It's okay to ask for help. Don't make career decisions based on money. Okay, so those are two. This is by Dashme. It's okay to ask for help. Yes. Oh my goodness. It drives me crazy when people don't like to ask for help because like they don't want to be a burden to someone. And it's like, dude, you know, life was not made for you to live on your own by yourself. You know, help comes in so many different forms, you know, accountability, just support, like utilize the people around you, you know, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. I'm always like, hi, can you help me? Because like, you know, I just can't do a lot of things. So, 1000%, what is this? Oh, their numbers on my camera, okay. So yes, it's okay to ask for help, for sure. Don't be shy, guys. A lot of people are much more willing to help than not. You'd be surprised. Don't view people as like super selfish, you know, if that makes sense. And if they are, then they suck and whatever. Don't ever ask them for help anymore. Don't make career decisions based off money. This, I agree. Even with, you know, blogging, if there's a huge campaign that comes and gets dropped in front of me and it's like, yo, like this is a fat payout, da 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 da. If it doesn't align with me or what I want to do or what I want to put out there to my audience, I'm not gonna do it. I'd rather protect my integrity, and I always am a firm believer in, not that these things are tests, but if you just sell your soul for money, your credibility goes down. And like, are you happy about it? Like, are you proud of it? You know what I mean? I would much rather be happy saying no to something that is a good paying collab than to take it on and then the entire time of the term of the campaign I'm just like, ugh. For me, that's how I can relate to it, and I definitely agree. And even in like a pay raise, if it's not something that you want or you feel is right, don't do it. If you already know from the beginning and have that gut feeling of like, I don't know about this, listen to your gut. And it's not the end of the world. Another opportunity will always come by, and it may be better. In my mind, I think it's always like God testing my faith and testing me. And many of the times when I did pass on something that I was like, okay, let's pass, I'll get something even better that's like way up my alley later on, and I'll just be like, yeah, you got me, bro. Like, he has my back, you know? Okay. You can find your soulmate and you're not too young for marriage. I agree. There's such a like stigma with marriage nowadays, and people are always like, oh, you're too young to get married, or you're too this, or you're too that. And it's like, you know what? Like, who cares? People want to get married, they want to get married. And if they have issues later on, then they have issues later on, and let them deal with it. It's not your problem. Don't butt in, like, unless it's very unhealthy or like a very extreme situation. I just feel, let people do whatever they want to do. And if they find their soulmate, then let them be. And you never know, just because someone gets married early doesn't mean like, oh, they're doomed, they're gonna have so many issues. I know some people who literally got married when they were 18 and live an amazing married life and fight never and are just perfect for each other. So it is what it is. I think a lot of it has to do with people's own experiences with relationships too. And that is just a whole other can of worms I can open, but we're not gonna do that. So anyways, okay, that one was from Emily. Miss Wentz. Instead of changing others, what can I change in myself? accept others and become non-judgmental. I did a blog post about this, and this is actually something that Tyler and I learned in marriage counseling, and it was, I forgot exactly the crux of it, but a lot of what we learned in marriage counseling can also be transferred into just regular relationships, like friendships, or just, you know, relationships you have with your family or coworkers or whatever. All transferable knowledge for sure. But the thing is, if you're always finger pointing, you're always gonna be miserable, in the sense that there's always something wrong. There's always gonna be something that bugs you, you know? But even for me, I took the Enneagram test. If you guys haven't taken the Enneagram, ENNAGRAM test, you guys need to. And I'm a type 9, and then I would like talk to my friends about it, and they were, you know, other numbers. It's a series of numbers. And even just knowing their Enneagram and knowing the key points of it, it gave me such a better understanding of the, you know, why they are the way they are. And we get so wrapped up in like, well, like, why, how do you not know that? Like, duh, that's common sense. Or like, why are you being like that? Like, you should be like this, like me, or whatever, you know? And we get so wrapped up in this, and we fail to, you know, remember that people are not wired the same way we are. So taking the Enneagram test and knowing my friends and what numbers they were, that in itself made me so much less judgy and confused in their actions and why they do the things they do, why they think the way they think, etc. And then, yeah, accepting others and become non-judgmental. I mean, I guess it's really the same thing. And if you always flip your view too, like, try to view yourself from someone else's eyes. You know, you probably do stuff that's questionable, but you're like, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna pass myself because like I'm this way and that's just da da da. And that could be said the same for the other person from the viewing from the outside in. I feel like the less you have to say about others, just the easier of a day you have in general. Kimmy had told me that I think Americans have, or not Americans, humans on average have anywhere between 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% of them are negative. Crazy, like that literally blows my mind. And how sad is that? I don't know if those numbers are true or like exact, by the way, but it's something just of that scale. And that kind of got me into the rhythm of, if I ever did think just a randomly just negative thought, it could be literally anything, I would always combat it with something positive, or I would catch myself and be like, hi, why are you thinking that? Like, don't think that way, you dummy. Okay. No one else is responsible for your own happiness except for yourself. Agree. I feel like that is just, it's so straightforward. And also, the only person that can get in the way of your successes and what you want to do in life is also yourself. Stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone grows in their own pace. Yes. One of my favorite quotes, and I put this on my story, is stay in your own lane. Because like, just picture yourself on a freeway, right? And there's cars driving. If you're just driving in your own lane and you're looking forward, you don't care about what's going on the sides, you know? It's like a tunnel vision, and you're just zooming and you get to where you want to be and you get to your destination. If you're driving, but you're constantly looking like, how fast is this person going? What is this person doing? Da 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 da. Before you know it, they're way far ahead of you, and you're out here wasting all your time looking left and right that you might be going slower and whatever, you know? So stay in your own lane. Like, don't keep looking off to everyone else. And it's hard to compare, not to compare yourself. You know, I've gotten really good at doing that, but I will still get in funks where I'm just like, oh, she's doing so much better than me. I should have put more thought into it. But if you do compare yourself, don't let that be something that tears you down. Just look at it as, okay, you know, next time I will be better. Next time I will put more thought into it. Turn it into a learning experience. Not everything has to be negative and heavy. If you change your outlook on that alone, I feel like that will just make such a substantial difference in so many things. Just your attitude and your happiness and your well-being. Trust God fully. Watch him move. He is so faithful and sovereign. Regina, girl, you hit it right. You hit the head. You hit the nail on the head. Obviously, I'm a Christian, and I have gotten into such a great habit of, if it's his will, it'll happen. If it's not, it won't. And if it doesn't happen, and when it doesn't happen, I'm just like, all right, there was a reason for it. I'm not gonna sit here and pout and be pissed. There's been very few occasions where I've gotten upset, but even then it was for just honestly so momentarily, and then I got over it afterwards. What do I learn from this? What is God trying to tell me? And most of the time, as soon as something doesn't go the way I want it to, I automatically already know it's because I'm focusing too much on this, it's because I'm not making enough time for him, and it's like him telling you, you know, right away. So it's good to have that discernment and to get into the habit of doing that. Just know that like every closed door, every open door, there is a purpose for it, and you're never going to be given something if you're not ready for it. Watch people's actions. Yes, people can say and fake you out with their words, but you will always know someone's heart and what their core is by their actions. 100%. And I feel like I've gotten to be really good at reading people. It's very hard to BS me, and just be observant of how they are. Don't just base things off of what they say, because people can sugarcoat and frost you however they want. Just do it. That idea you're toying with, it's on your heart for a reason. Go for it, whatever it is. Alex, 100%. That's kind of like why I started doing the whole blogging thing. You know, I mean, not that I quit my job to do it, but I was so bored, and I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to do this. I'm just going to do it. And if I kept putting it off and not doing it, I wouldn't be where I was today. If it's on your heart for a reason, like, just take a stab at it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and it's fine. But you're not going to think and dwell on, oh, like, I wish I just tested it out to see, or I just wish I tried. You only live one life. Like, why just, you know, sit on your couch and do nothing and be lazy when you could try something? And that, it's all part of growing. And the rubber band, like, we're coming full circle, guys. Be kind to everyone, for everyone is fighting their own battles, by Manders. Yes, that one is also not also hard, but you know, if someone's mean to you, it's hard to switch off the sass diva, like, I'm sorry, who are you mode, you know. And again, a lot of people's opinions and things that they have to say about you has everything to do with them. So at the end of the day, if people do send me really nasty messages, unless it's very specific, I won't even address it. My way of being mean and nasty is just like, thank you for your kindness. I appreciate your concern. You know, I just hope you have an amazing day. I just throw them all these like rainbows and happiness and love. And it throws them off, because they're just like, huh? Like, what do I say to that? They're ready to go to war with you. You know, people are mad brave behind the keyboard, okay? But if you just throw them kindness and love, one, I feel like you have already cut and severed like the negative train that comes with it. And two, by doing that, it could, what do I say this? You're like dropping a little mustard seed, you know, instead of being nasty back. If you're nice about it back, or if you just deflect it, they'll remember it, you know, and it might stick with them, and maybe it'll help change them later on, or maybe it doesn't, you never know. But just be nice, because so many things could be prevented if you just have self-control and be the bigger person and just like leave it be. You don't have to be liked by everyone. This one was a hard one for me to learn. Growing up, this is way more comfortable leaning. Growing up, I wanted to be liked by everyone, as every kid does. But I think the older you get, you know, the smaller your circle gets, and you just realize like people are different. You're gonna have people who you just don't mesh well with, and you know, vice versa, and that's fine. If it doesn't affect you, then why let it penetrate your life? So you do not have to be liked by everyone. And there's some people who are out there who just want to hate on everyone, and you know. Okay, from Mimi Nicole, don't go into debt trying to impress people with things. Yes, don't be flashy for social media. You know what you should do? and how you should try to impress people is with kindness and with good deeds and with things that actually matter and that can like impact others and change the world. Because your lasting impact on the, like, what do you want to be known for? If you were to die tomorrow, like, what do you want to be said about you? You want to leave a legacy behind as something that is so impactful for others that could be like, dang, like I strive to be like her. So don't try to impress people with things, man. It ain't worth it. You can't bring things to heaven. You focus on your goals and aspirations before a relationship. Literally, La Luna, yes. I kind of wish, well, no, I think I did okay in that, because I mean, being Asian and, you know, I was always taught like you work really hard, you know what I mean? So I was still able to focus on my goals and aspirations while juggling long-term relationships. But if you aren't that kind of person, if you aren't like a self-starter, 100%, you have to do, this is your life, okay? You have to do things for yourself. And I always, you know, I put this, hold on, I'm thirsty. I put this on my story the other day about relationship advice, and pretty much I said, a lot of girls, I feel like, go into relationships because they're trying to put a band-aid over something. And typically and usually it's not, has nothing to do with the boy, but it has everything to do with something about themselves, whether it's something internal, something they struggle with, but it's just like a temporary band-aid. And it's like, and I didn't do that, but I had the mindset of it in a way where when I was in my second relationship, it was so bad. Like, you guys, I hit rock bottom with my confidence, and I would like do things to try to supplement for it, and it was just so dumb. It was bad, it was ugly, it was dumb. I feel like you gotta do you, you know what I mean? And you have to be so strong in yourself that you can live, like, you can have that confidence of like, I can get through life on my own. I don't want to get through life on my own. I want to have a partner and someone to experience life with, but like, be that strong, independent person on your own. You know what I mean? Don't rely on someone to give you that, because if you don't, then you're putting your entire worth in their hands. And a lot of guys suck, and they're gonna mistreat you and be players and like do stupid things and mistreat you, and then, you know, like, it's just, it's all bad. So focus on your goals, focus on you, and focus on your aspirations before a relationship, because so many years will pass and you're gonna just waste so much time on like bum relationships, and then, you know, you'll be like 35 and wonder, all these years that I focused all my time on dudes, I could have focused that time on like my career or doing something, but like, I'm starting from scratch. I don't have a good relationships, and I don't have like any merit to build up on, you know? So don't be that person. I'm not saying like, oh, there is someone out there who I know who's 35. I'm just like giving a very broad example. You grow the most in your 20s. Don't be afraid to move on from friends, jobs, situations, others, so forth. This is from Emma Marie. I do agree. There's another girl who asked a question when I was in Mammoth saying like, you know, what are your thoughts about ending friendships from your kid 20s? And I said, absolutely. I'm, again, all about, oh, I keep burping, sorry. All about quality over quantity. And if a relationship isn't working out for you and a friendship isn't working, okay, I view friendships and relationships, it's the same for me. Again, being the only child, I think why I put so much emphasis on friendships and relationships is because I never had that growing up. My cousins all lived in the Midwest. It was literally just me on the West Coast, so I was a very lonely kid growing up. So like, my friends are my family to me, and I put as much emphasis on friendships as I do family, as I do relationships. If a friendship is not working for you and you're finding yourself like putting so much effort and they're not giving it back, just like a relationship with a boy, what is it doing for you? You know what I mean? Like, you got to cut it loose, and I guarantee you will feel so much better and a weight lifted off, because if that person isn't giving you their all and they're 100% in their friendship, what's the point? That's not a friendship. That's just knowing someone and like doing something for someone and never getting anything in return. Don't hold on to a friendship just because there are so many years attached to it. People grow apart, and who you are in your late 20s versus who you are as a teenage child are two completely different people. And you're not the same. There are very few people who are the same. And so it's okay if you grow apart. Just because they were your person back then doesn't mean they still have to be your person now. If you guys are two different people, you never see eye to eye, like you guys aren't being there for each other with certain things, let it go. It's okay. Like, as long as it's mutual and it's civil and you guys both agree like you guys aren't gonna be as close as you were before, I think that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be like this ugly breakup of friendship. Just approach it with kindness and with love and mutual understanding, and I think that'll settle it. I had to recharge my battery because it was dying. So we are back, and so another one by NBTGMS. Slow down, what's the rush? Never compare your someone's chapter 50 to your beginning. Yes, everyone starts somewhere, and when you start, you just have to remember that you got to go at your own pace. And it's back to the whole like stay in your own lane. You know, Rome wasn't built overnight, and you know, you hear that all the time. All these athletes, yeah, they were born with talent, but it took years to cultivate and like master all of that. So just don't be in such a rush to get to the end, because the journey is so much more fun, and that's what makes the end result the best feeling in the entire world. Travel more. I wish I caught the traveling bug a little earlier. 2020 is a year that I'm gonna make traveling something really, really big for me, just because there's so many places I wanna go, there's so many things I wanna see and experience. And like we said, experiences definitely help expand who you are as a person. And I didn't touch upon it entirely, but even just when you meet new people and you're in different cities, people have different ways of living in and out, like not just how they are day in, day out, but their view and their outlook on life and how they approach life. You know, if you go to a smaller town or a slower city, you know, you may learn a lot more and just pick up like good habits or whatever. So definitely travel more, because I really feel like it just really broadens, again, your tolerance for people and just your knowledge and your patience for people. God didn't bring you this far to leave you now. Trust in him, by Miranda Canseco. Yes, I definitely agree. God already has your chapter 100 published, and even though you're only on chapter 3, you just gotta trust. You know, there is literally this crazy meticulous plan, and I think that's what's the coolest thought of how much God cares about you. You know, you're struggling in chapter 2, but God's like, look, chapter 3 is gonna bring this, and chapter 4 is gonna bring this, and then chapter 100 is gonna be so dope. Like, just trust in me. You know, God is constantly building on your character, and never feel like it's going to waste, because nothing is ever going to waste. Embrace the pace of your own timeline, by Brenda. Yep. A lot of these are overlapping. Not everyone is going to like you, and you don't have to like everyone, by Mermaid Nick. Yep. Do things for yourself. Yes. You don't have to be the person who does it all. Do your best work during hours, then unplug. This is something I feel like a lot of my friends struggle with. I struggle with too. It's just, we have so many ideas, and we want to do this and we want to do that, and then you get into this crazy rabbit hole of work, and then you look up and it's 3 in the morning, and you're like, oh, hold on, what? And then you kind of neglect. Like, in the very beginning, I was neglecting Tyler just because I was so amped on work, and I expected, a lot of times we expect them to have the same excitement as we do, even though they have no idea what's going on. So definitely learning that and to slow down and slow my roll, and I don't have to get everything done. I don't have to do everything has been a huge blessing, because then I don't put as much pressure on myself. And I feel like that could be something that a lot of people can relate to. Pay attention to creating a savings account for future planning. I'm sure it also has a lot to do with the fact that my grandpa was a banker, and you know, my dad was super into just investments and whatnot, but I was taught at a very young age, save. And so for all the money that I ever got, once I got to college, I opened obviously a bank account, and I had a checking account, I had an alternative checking account, and I had a savings account. So if I ever worked, I would automatically put 15 to 20% in my savings, and I never touched my savings, like never. And then I would put an additional 10, maybe 15% in my alternative checking, and then the rest in my regular checking. So my alternative checking I didn't have a card for, but that was for my backup for just like random stuff, or like Coachella or music festival, things that I knew that I needed to save up for, but that I also didn't want to just throw in my savings, because again, like my savings was frozen. I did not ever take out from that. So it was like kind of like my backup piggy bank, and then I had my checking account. So even with my checks now, as soon as I get paid, 10% goes to offering, and then I will put money towards paying off my credit card, and then I will put about 15% into savings, 30% goes in taxes, and then I will spend the rest, because nothing is worse than as you get older and you have to start purchasing a vehicle or a house and you don't have that much money saved. So save now, because even just saving $20 to $30 a week, trust me guys, it adds up. It really does. And you just gotta get into habit of it. So friends will come and go. Be wise where you invest your time, invest it in yourself. It's kind of similar to what we talked about, but I think a big thing that I learned in my early 20s was knowing a lot of people was the cool thing. And you wanted to know, I mean, at least for me, it's from like Orange County, like so many friends all over Orange County, and then I had all my LA friends, and I would just like spend all my weekends and weeks like driving around visiting all these people. It was just, I put so much energy into these because like I thought it gave me clout, but really you know, it was just kind of for what, you know? And I mean, I have no regrets. I still planned out my time well, and it wasn't that I was putting, you know, certain things in the back burner, but there are people who do put priorities on the back burner due to those things. And so just kind of make sure you know where you're spending your time, because at the end of the day, like I've always said, you have one life, and you don't want to waste it. You don't want to look back and be like, dude, like I regret doing this, I regret doing that. Really pay attention, because time is money, and it is, you only get so many hours of the day, so use them wisely. Okay, so I think that is it from these ones. A lot of them were pretty similar. I guess I will share my a few ones or whatever that I did type out. My favorite one, and will always be my favorite, is, oh, okay. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So when people say, oh, you're so lucky, you know, you get to do this, or, you know, you say, oh, that person's so lucky because they got whatever. I don't really believe in luck. I believe that if you're well prepared, an opportunity will come along that will be so clutch, and it will be presented to you because you are ready for it. You know, like I've always said, you're never gonna be given something you're not ready for. And so I don't believe in luck. I believe in hard work and the timing of it, and where you are in life and what you will be able to handle, even if it is hard, but you will prevail, because again, we are stretching the rubber band. So that one, stay in your own lane, was another one for me. And again, a lot of them kind of just they all correlate. Another one was you won't ever be given something you're not ready for, like I just said. And I guess it's not really advice, but just a reminder, and it's my favorite Bible verse. Be the salt and light of the world. So don't lose your saltiness, because if you don't have your saltiness, you know, you can't be seasoned and season others. And then if you don't have a light, you can't shine and show others the way, and, you know, light the world for others. I'm sorry, baby, did I hit you? So for me, at least using this platform, of course I'm like sharing clothing and stuff, but I also like to share things like this and my faith, because I'm given this platform and I want to be a seasoning for others and help others. And I want to be a light for others to help guide them towards whatever it may be. And even if it isn't something, even if it isn't to God, you know, just opening them up to changing their way of thinking with certain things. Because again, like I've said, a lot of things we learn in church, even if you're not spiritual, it's still just great ways to look at life and your daily outlook, how you treat others, how you treat situations, how you get out of tough situations, etc. That's, you know, I've learned a lot and I'm still learning, but I love sharing experiences, because when I grow and I learn, I'm like, wow, like that was so cool. I just experienced something so dope, and I just want to share with other people, because it might relate for them as well, or it might be pertinent to whatever they're going through at the moment. And one of my favorite DMs that I got recently was, this girl was like, I always associated things with, you know, just put it out in the universe, and like the universe will like give it back to you, and karma. And I mean, I believe in karma too, but obviously that's something like a different belief. But I believe in the concept of the whole karma thing. But she's like, you know, kind of just after following you and reading and listening to things that the podcast you put out there and things you say, like I actually want to dig a little deeper in Christianity and stuff. And I was always just a universe type girl, but now I actually think like, okay, there is more and I can dig deeper. And that was just so great. You know, I love that so much. And so, I mean, this is just a stepping stone for my career path, and I don't think I'm gonna be doing this forever, or I may, but just not, you know, as my primary. I have so many other things I want to accomplish, like doing ministry work for gang-related incarcerations. You know, what I did for my senior, or my my grad school capstone concept, I want to make that a real life thing as well. There's just so many things I want to do, and I can already kind of see, okay, maybe this platform is kind of like a bridge into those, or maybe it's not, who knows, but it's just exciting. And anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I want to do more things like this. So if I can think of like cooler topics to kind of talk about and do YouTube videos on, I will. So anyways, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.